Jerry Wayne Key was the eldest and only son of Leslie and Glennis Key. He grew up working on his family's dairy farm, helping his dad milk cows and deliver milk. Wayne accepted the Lord at 10 years old and was later baptized, along with his father, at 13 in 1966. Shortly after his acceptance, Wayne felt God speaking to him.
But before I changed churches, I would be sitting in the congregation at the Methodist church, and a voice would come to me and say, while the preacher was preaching, that I need to be up there preaching.
This was the first time Wayne felt the call to preach. It was not until a few years later that he would truly act upon his calling. At Pine Forest Baptist Church, Wayne met with the pastor after a revival service. Wayne never expected to succeed in preaching, but he put his trust in God and made the decision to serve the Lord.
And we went into his office, and I told him my feeling in my heart, and he asked me what did I think was going on. I said, well, maybe God is calling me to preach. But I stuttered and stammered a lot then, and I could not imagine me ever being able to stand before a group of people and to speak. But that night in his office, I prayed on my knees and committed my life to God, to Christ, to do whatever he would have me to do. And the next night in the revival meeting, I walked down the aisle and made that commitment to preach public.
Just a few weeks after making his decision public, Wayne would deliver his first sermon. Being a freshman in high school, Wayne was quite nervous about speaking publicly.
And I had never spoken before a group of people in my life. I was scared absolutely to death. In study hall that day at school, I wrote my sermon, my first sermon, on notebook paper. It was on John 3:16 that baptism cannot save you. You have to be born again. And I got up that Wednesday night and spoke. And when I sat down, I'd spoken for 3 minutes. I thought I'd spoken for 30 minutes.
This was the start of a fruitful ministry. Wayne began receiving calls from pastors to come preach. He began to feel that God was calling him to attend seminary. This led him to make one of the toughest decisions of his life.
When I got married, me and my wife Kathy, I was at my first little church. I was attending college, University of South Carolina, and started pastoring this little church. We had 10 people the first Sunday I was there. And then 3 years later, when I left, we had 40 people. And in that time, I still continued to work with my dad on the farm, but I realized I could not do both.
Wayne got the opportunity to attend Fruitland Baptist Bible Institute in Hendersonville, North Carolina. However, this would mean leaving his father and the farm.
Kathy and my wife had moved into a trailer on my dad's land, but then I felt led to sell the trailer and to leave. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do, was leave my dad. He cried and I cried. And he wanted me to leave Kathy there and then just come back, but no, I took her with me. And from that time forward, I never really worked with my dad again on the farm because I could not do both.
Wayne would go on to be successful at seminary and went to preach at a few churches in North Carolina. He stayed a few years at these churches and eventually got called to pastor Mount Zion Baptist Church in Cherryville, North Carolina. He pastored at Mount Zion for 25 years.
We moved to Cherryville, North Carolina. I moved in June of '94. I never had the intention of staying 25 years. My philosophy has always been I go to a church as God leads me to go to, and I stay as long as God leads me to stay. And so the Lord just allowed me to stay there that long.
Along with the successful ministry, Pastor Wayne is also a substitute teacher. He primarily subs for Cherryville High School. There, he is well respected by the students and faculty. It has proven to be a ministry to the students there, and Pastor Wayne has had opportunities to provide guidance to students and teachers. In tragic times in the school, Pastor Wayne has even led memorial services. I hope this has provided a glimpse into the life of a great man. From farmer to minister, Wayne Key has led a fulfilling life as a pastor, father, and teacher.